Alright, what's up, guys? It's time for another franchise review. This is going to be a little bit different compared to my Creep review, just because I'm just going to try and review Friday the 13th as a whole. It's good, since most of my thoughts are pretty much the same, except for, like, a couple of... you'll see what I mean once I start diving into this franchise. To just start off with the movies that I really do not like in this franchise, and that's going to be part 1, and really it's just part 1 that I hate. Part 5 probably, and part 8 and 9. So to begin things off with the first film, I think this movie is just incredibly dull. It just feels like a not very good Scream with its like mystery, because like the setup is terribly set up, because we already know who the killer is, because the one time we see... Pamela Voorhees, the mother of Jason, gets revealed at the end of the movie. But the issue is, since the reveal is so, like, last minute, it's like, well, we kind of know who the killer is now. So even as, like, a mystery, like a who did it type of movie, it's terrible, because it's pretty fucking obvious who it is. I also just think the pacing in this movie is just extremely dull. This movie's just really hard on rewatch. Like, I'm fine with a slower paced movie as long as it's good and has a reason for it to be slow paced. But with Friday Part 1, where the characters are not even that entertaining, they're pretty boring in all honesty. They're like the most basic slasher kill count characters you could ever think of. And that's kind of unfortunate when, since your movie's is a lot slower paced, it's hard enjoying characters that are so dull and bland. The kills, I will say this, the practical effects are actually pretty damn good in this movie. But another thing I should probably bring up, because I'm a pretty big snake enthusiast, I love snakes. They're some of my favorite animals. So, behind the scenes, they killed a real snake, like someone's pet snake, and just knowing about that is just kind of fucked up. I don't know why they did that. Why couldn't they just make a fake snake? It's stupid. Especially when it was just for a stupid fucking scene that had literally no, like, purpose. Now, that's just my overall thoughts on the first one. I just think it's extremely boring and dull. There's nothing interesting in it. There's nothing that separates it from other movies. It's crazy how this started off the franchise. You could definitely tell this movie was definitely trying to cash in on the, like, slasher craze that was going on during the time. And it is just incredibly obvious, because there's nothing in here that elevates it other than just a kind of a Halloween ripoff. Even they admitted it. Now, on to part 5. I'm also going to keep this one actually really short compared to my thoughts on the first one. I literally do not remember anything from it. All I remember was Jason wasn't the killer in this one. It was Roy Burns, and I remember not finding him entertaining at all. I thought the story they told was pretty dull. I thought the characters in this movie were actually quite insufferable. I genuinely couldn't, like, get invested. The characters were so annoying. And Tommy Jarvis in the movie, I think they were originally setting up that he was going to be the new Jason. I could be totally wrong. Please correct me if I am. But, my god, that is a terrible idea. I think that is just... Like, why? Why would he become Jason? What purpose would that ever serve? Like, for the future of the franchise? That's so stupid. I also think this is just the worst Tommy Jarvis. Nothing against the actor, I just think he's the weakest to portray Tommy. I don't even think Tommy was that interesting in this movie. I know they were trying to go for the PTSD arc for Tommy in this film. I never really found it super interesting. So now on to parts 8 and 9, and my lord... I got some negative things about both of these movies. So I'm gonna get into part 8 real quick. This is I would argue this is worse than the first one. I don't know what they were thinking with this film. It's so unbelievably boring. It's literally just Jason on a boat killing literally, like, characters you could give literally no shits for. The characters are so dull, so boring, that, like, you don't care if they die. They're not even, like, a so bad it's good type of character. They're literally just, I'm falling asleep type of character. Part 8 does have some good moments in there for sure, but, like, the good definitely does not outweigh the bad. Like, the only good thing that I can recall from part 8 was when fucking Jason knocked the guy's head off. That was pretty tough. That's literally the only good thing I remember from this movie. It was so, like, I fell asleep on my first watch on this movie. This is worse than part one. I changed my mind. This is worse than the first one. I think this one is just bad. There's nothing like besides one kill. That's late into the movie. You have to sit and watch it for so long to even get to that one good scene. And to me, that's not worth it. And don't even get me started on Jason melting into this fucking puppet-looking thing. And also, Jason's design in this movie, holy hell, they really downgraded him compared to, like, Part 7. Part 7 had one of the most, not one of, literally the coolest Jason design I think I've ever seen. So, the fact that they got rid of it for this melty look is just, it had to be because of a budget reason, I'm assuming. Because, how do you go from this to fucking this? It's just unbelievable. The movie doesn't even fucking take place in Manhattan, so that's also a lot, first of all. And even when we get into the Manhattan part of the movie's almost over. So it's literally just Jason takes a boat to Manhattan, not Jason goes to Manhattan. I mean, he does go to Manhattan for the last, like, 20 minutes. Of course, there's still one movie to talk about. Part 9. Ooh-wee. We got Part 9. Wow. I thought Part 8 was bad. In all honesty, Part 8 and Part 9 are pretty interchangeable for me. I don't know which one's actually worse. I think Part 9, from a narrative standpoint, is probably the worst in the series. Just because it literally makes no sense. Like, you're telling me we randomly establish that Jason's a Deadite at the last second with no good explanation for it. He's suddenly just a Deadite. He suddenly can just possess people. That's not world building. That's just making up your own fucking rules last second. And it's extremely obvious. There's a reason why a lot of people don't consider this movie canon, and that's just because it feels so disconnected to the films. And the fact that this was trying to build up to maybe a Evil Dead crossover, even though the franchise has never really crossed over until the comics, and don't even get me started on the comics, it just feels really pointless. Jason's design in this movie is actually kind of gnarly. I know a lot of people hate it. I think it's actually kind of cool. Jason trying to possess another Voorhees. I think that's what happens in this movie. I literally could care less. It's so dull. It's so basic, and also that feels so weirdly out of character for Jason. Like, that's just a weird characterization. Jason really only kills you if you, like, get in his way. Or, yeah, it's pretty much just that. If you're, like, near him, he'll kill you. But, like, he'll never, like, try and go out of his way to fucking exterminate you like he does in this one. It just feels really strange, I guess. Now we're getting into the okay movies of the series. And that is going to be Part 3. And I think this is the only one I'm going to talk about in this category. It's aight. It's a fun enough movie. Jason gets his hockey mask. The kills are fun. The characters aren't... I don't think they're as offensively bad as everyone makes them out to be. They're okay. The barn setting was pretty cool. I think the final act of the movie is one of the best in the entire franchise. Especially when Jason gets the axe, like, stuck in his head. That was pretty gnarly. The 3D effects are annoying as all hell. I'm happy that trend died out. I don't know what Hollywood was thinking. Like, I don't know why they thought that was cool. It just gives you a bad headache, I think. Overall, I would just consider this a fun enough Friday the 13th. I would never consider this like a top 5 Friday for me. It's not bad. It's fun. But it's not like an amazing movie. I would recommend it if you're a Friday fan or you're a slasher fan in general, just because it's still a fun watch. It's still a fun watch. Now we get into the fun, bad, just fun movies. Now we got Freddy vs. Jason. We got Part 7. We got Jason X, which I know that one's a little controversial saying. And the remake. Ooh, time to get into all 4 of these films. Let's break it down. Part 7 has the coolest design by a landslide. I don't even think it's close. It's the best Jason look in all of Jason media, in all of Friday the 13th media. I don't even, like, it shouldn't even be compared. It's kind of sad we only get to see this design for one movie. But this movie, again, I've heard so many Friday fans not like this movie and actually kind of hate it. And I never got why. Like, sure, it's not a good movie by any means. It's still kind of a fun movie. At least because it's like, sure, it's a ripoff of Carrie. The main girl that fights Jason in the movie. Of course, she's just a ripoff of Carrie. The storyline involving Tina and I think it was her father, I think was interesting enough. I don't really get the people that absolutely hate her character. Like, sure, she's not a top 10 character in fiction, but she's a fun enough character where you can be like, okay, I hope she does win. I hope she does overcome Jason. You get to see, like, a lot of psychological issues with her due to her having these powers that, it's, again, like I said, it's basically just Carrie. It's a worse version of Carrie. And I can live with that, in all honesty. Because with the Friday the 13th franchise, I'd rather something, like, fun, even if it's, like, totally out there, than just boring and fucking stupid. So, there you go. The action sequences between her and Jason are fucking gnarly. And obviously Jason's look is awesome. The kills are actually the weakest in the movie for some fucking reason, even though this movie is literally called New Blood. I don't get why they did that. But, like, all the action sequences, like I mentioned, are really fun. And to me, it is worth it to get through the kind of rip-off Carrie stuff. Because at the end of the day, since it's a rip-off of Carrie, they take, like, pretty much a lot of traits from Carrie. I mean, no dirt, because it's a Carrie rip-off. So, the characterization of Tina isn't bad. So, I can't really, like, absolutely hate her as a character. I think she's a fun opponent for Jason. Like, brute strength versus telekinetic strength, that's pretty awesome. This is basically probably just one of the more action-focused Friday the 13th movies, I'd say. Just because, the finale. It's literally just head-to-head combat. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. It's fun seeing Jason fight someone that can actually fight back against him. Especially at the States. He's superhuman at this point. Stunt stuff in this film is amazing. I think I should mention that a lot of these movies have, like, amazing stunts in them. Even, like, the bad ones. Like, the building collapsing was... oh, awesome. Just respect the hell. Even out of the bad ones, a lot of work still was put into these movies, even though some of these movies I really do not like. Good job on the stunts. For all these movies in general, but Part 7 in particular. Now we are on to Jason X. I'm also going to keep this one short. It's Jason in space. That's all you need to know. Some people love it, some people fucking hate it. I'm one of the people that actually think it's entertaining, because having Jason kill at a campsite for the 18th time kind of gets a little boring and stale and repetitive. So having him kill in fucking space of all places, I mean, the CGI is atrocious, but, like, it's fun. The dialogue is, like, really, really wacky, so it depends on how you feel about that, because it can be a little bit much in the film, but for me, it just kind of established the fun bad that Jason X is. Also, Uber Jason fucking rocks. I don't care what any of you guys say. Awesome design. Plus, it has one of the coolest kill sequences in the entire franchise. When Jason freezes a girl's face and smashes it against a table. You cannot tell me that Jason X does not have some of the best aspects of the franchise in here. I would pretty much give the same compliments as Part 7. Action sequences are great. Stunts are amazing. I think these are even better than Part 7's. The characters are fun. Like, trying the mystery. I think the mystery in this one's actually, like, watchable compared to the first one. Where it's like, ooh, who killed my mother? Was it my dad? And it turns out it was Frederick Krueger. Plus, how they got them fighting was actually... I actually really like that setup. Kind of like a Frankenstein's monster type thing, where Freddy kind of resurrects Jason to kill for him. It's just a fun movie. It's obviously not a great movie. Some of the dialogue is just atrocious in this movie. Like, not even in a fun bad way, just in a bad way. Jason's look is also kind of a downgrade. Maybe it's just because I've seen this look so many damn times where I'm just kind of tired of it. Maybe that's just me. I think it's just kind of an overrated look. But nonetheless, Freddy vs. Jason is a fun watch. The characters aren't particularly great, but they're fun enough, especially knowing about that mystery about, like, ooh, who did this, blah, 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 blah. However, the comics kind of ruined this, because in the comics, again, the comics aren't canon, so if you were a big fan of Laurie in this movie, you would definitely not like the comics, since she gets killed off pretty much immediately. Like, she goes back to Camp Crystal Lake to make sure Jason's dead, I think, and then Jason kills her and her boyfriend. and it's like, what's the point of doing that? I don't get it. Overall, though, Freddy vs. Jason's a fun time. Now, the remake, here's the thing about the remake, it's basically just, I would say, it's a fun movie just because Jason is really fucking scary in this film. This is the scariest Jason by a landslide. You literally see him full on sprint. He's ran before, but he's never full on sprinted towards someone. It's fucking terrifying. The characters, Dean Winchester's brother, he was good in the movie. Most of the dialogue, though, of course, with most Friday the 13th movies, is just, oh lord, so talking about so much fucking. That's a lot of fucking. I'll say that. But the main characters are kind of what makes this film not as bad. If it was the side characters we were following, then I would say, oh brother, this movie's gonna stink then. But the main characters were fun. Now we are on to the good films. This consists of Part 2, Part 4, and Part 6. Seems like a short list. These are just the ones that I actually consider, amazing. Part 2, I think, has an interesting final girl. I think Jason himself in this movie might be a little goofy, but I don't really mind it, since it is human Jason. I do like the hillbilly look of Jason in this movie, though. The kills are still pretty gnarly. It's mainly just, I think, the final girl, to me, in this movie was really, really entertaining. And this is where we start getting introduced to the Friday the 13th lore a little bit more, where we see Jason having, his mother's head still there, and it's kind of having his mother tell him what to do. Love how we're establishing more lore in the series, even though it kind of makes no sense. Jason was meant to be dead in the first one, so they kind of just retcon that, oh, he actually never died, which, I don't know, that's a little lazy writing, but it's whatever. It's the pinnacle of a Friday the 13th movie to me. I thought the story was decent enough. Not the most compelling in the world, but it was still decent overall. So yeah, recommend Part 2. Now we got Part 4 and Part 6. I'm going to group both of these together, just because they both include Tommy Jarvis. This is the Tommy Jarvis saga, excluding Part 5. Part 5 fucking sucks. My main compliments to Part 4 and 6, obviously Tommy Jarvis. They introduced, again, especially because you don't really have many, final guys, I guess. You don't really have, a guy as the final, protagonist, usually. So, changing up the pace a little bit was interesting. Especially because I think Tommy Jarvis is easily the most interesting character in this entire franchise. Even more so than Jason. And Part 4 is interesting because it continues off of Part 3, and it exceeds that part. What makes this better than Part 3 for me is actually, I really enjoy the characterization a lot more in this movie, because I really just don't remember a lot of the characterization from Part 3. I just remember the characters being fun enough where you're not, absolutely bored. This movie, they actually kind of give the main characters something to do. Mother's pretty charming. Obviously, Tommy is, as a child, he was really fucking smart. So I think that was an interesting choice, especially because in Part 6, we see more of that evident, because we see this guy being really, even at a young age, he knows how to make a lot of things. He knows how to make masks. He's just overall really smart kid. Great setup, because to me, that's how you can end Jason in this movie in a way that kind of seems believable. We establish that this kid is smart. He could maybe find a smart way to try and fuck with Jason. That's what they did at the end of the movie. Jason's death in this movie, awesome. Also, the characters, it's the rare time in a Friday the 13th film where you actually want the characters to live. So anytime they die, it's you actually feel bad. Which is it's kind of crazy saying that, since it's a Friday the 13th movie. So, gotta give Part 4 that. As for Part 6, I think Part 6 is honestly a lot better than Part 4. Part 4 is great, don't get me wrong, but we get to see adult Tommy Jarvis. And to me, his trauma in this film is a lot more interesting than in Part 5. He decides to take this, this trauma, and tries to use it for good by fully stopping Jason. He accidentally resurrects Jason. Great introduction to zombie Jason. And it is also believable that Tommy just wanted full clarification that he's fully dead, he's not taking any chances, and he just wants to kill Jason fully. So him accidentally bringing him back to life due to his arrogance, great setup. The kills in this movie are pretty fun, especially when he like decapitates 3 people at once. That was pretty gnarly. I think this is one of the strongest looks of Jason. Might be a hot take. I know a lot of people don't like the Home Depot look of him. I think it looks pretty cool. It kind of makes him look like a survivalist. Anytime Jason looks like a survivalist, always think that's when Jason kind of looks the most intimidating. As a whole, part 6 was amazing. I think especially the cop's dynamic with Tommy, like thinking he's insane. Like it was just a really fun dynamic. I also think the pacing in this movie is easily the best in the entire franchise. It feels consistent throughout, and I don't think you're really ever bored throughout any point through the movie. Now, granted, it's one of the more faster-paced movies, but for Friday the 13th, I feel like that kind of works better in its favor. Those are my overall thoughts on the franchise. So, what's my overall ranking of the series? Let's go. So, for number 1, I think this is going to be a no-brainer for me, at least. Part 6, I think Part 6 is the best one in the series. Next, Part 4. Again, I also don't think this is a lot of people's first pick, and I totally get why. Third pick, Part 2. Number 4, I would probably say Freddy vs. Jason. 5, I would say Part 7. 6, I'd probably put the remake. 7, put Jason X. 8th, I'd probably put Part 3. 9th, Part 5. Then Part 1. Then Part 8 and 9 are literally interchangeable, so it doesn't matter. That is my ranking of the franchise, and that is also kind of my review of the franchise. Didn't review the fan films, maybe I'll do that another time. Overall, this is an interesting franchise, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this long, spooky video. Yeah.